Hello, everyone. How's it going today? Can you hear me all right? Can you see my screen? If so, please type in yes in the chat box. All right, let's get started. Welcome and congratulations on making it to the bonus week 5 call of the DM copy system. Over the past 4 weeks, you've learned how to hook attention, spark curiosity, lead powerful conversations, and close sales with micro messages. But today, we're going to shift gears a little. Today's session is short and sweet, and it's all about strategy. Specifically, we're going to talk about how to build content that creates demand before the DM even happens. I'm going to walk you through a 5-step process from identifying your audience's pain to creating what I call a value bomb, and then using power content to drive endless leads and start conversations on autopilot. If you've ever wondered what kind of content should I be posting to get more leads, today is the day I answer this for you. Let's start with a simple truth. Pain is what moves people. It's what keeps them up at night. It's what keeps them scrolling, looking for answers. It's what makes them click and take action. If you want your copy, your DMs, your content, your offers to land hard, you have to meet your audience in their pain. That's your compass. That's the signal that you're going to follow. Now, here's something that most beginner marketers miss. People don't spend money on things that are nice to have. They spend money to remove pain. Always. The more urgent the pain, the more personal it is, the more emotionally frustrating the pain is for them, the faster they're going to take action to solve it. This is why selling a quote unquote better system doesn't work unless it's clear that there's a problem that it's going to solve. You can be clever, you can be persuasive, or you can be creative, but if you're not grounded in pain, you're marketing into the wind. There's an old copywriting saying that says, people buy painkillers, not vitamins. It's easy to brush that off, but I want you to live by it. If your audience is bleeding, give them a bandage before you try to sell them a 6-month fitness plan. If they're frustrated and stuck, show them the path forward before you explain your 12-module course. This is the hierarchy of persuasion. Pain first, desire second, logic last. Your job this week is to train yourself to see pain everywhere. And I don't mean just dramatic sub-story pain. I mean the everyday frustrations that people are going through, the points that are keeping them stuck, the bottlenecks, oh no, not this again feeling that your audience has when they try to move forward and hit a wall. That's the gold. Once you know what hurts, you can start crafting messages that feel like relief. And that's when your content stops being noise and starts becoming necessary for them. So write this down and keep it close. If I can articulate their pain better than they can, they'll believe I have the solution. That's your edge. That's your superpower. And that's why today I'm going to teach you how to spot that pain in the wild, translate it into a real problem, and use it to drive irresistible content and endless DM leads. Let's talk about how to actually find the pain, because guessing is not a strategy. You don't want to assume what your audience is struggling with. You want to hear it straight from their mouths. When you can echo their exact language back to them, it creates instant rapport. They'll feel like you understand them, and that kind of trust is priceless. So, strategy number 1 is social listening. This is where you become an anthropologist. You go where your audience is talking, not to you, but to each other. Places like Facebook groups, Reddit threads, YouTube comment sections, Amazon reviews, blog post replies, even TikTok comment sections. These are gold mines for you. You're not looking for compliments or product reviews. You're looking for sentences that start with, I'm struggling with, or why is it so hard to, or I just wish I could, or does anyone else feel like? These are the pain signals that you're looking for. Screenshot them, save them, study them. Use their exact words in your copy and your DMs later. Strategy number 2 is having real conversations. If you already have an audience, even a small one, start asking them questions. Hey, what's your biggest challenge with X right now? That's a great one. If you're not on a call with a client, for example, ask follow-up questions. Why do you think that's being so frustrating for you? Or what have you tried that didn't work before? Those are not just helpful for you. They make the prospects feel heard. And that alone builds trust because you're asking them the right questions. And strategy number 3 is to look at the objections that people give you. I'm not sure this will work for me. Is a disguised pain point. So I need to think about it, or I don't have time to do this, or I already tried X and it didn't help. These hesitations tell you what's going on under the surface. Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they burned out? Are they just feeling distrustful about something? When you get curious about their resistance instead of pushing past it, you'll uncover the real emotional blockers. You must become a professional listener. You need to learn to listen more than you write and collect language like it's a treasure, because it is. When you build your messaging from your audience's own words, your copy doesn't feel like marketing. It feels like help. And that's what turns cold leads into warm buyers. Now, we need to zoom in on the difference between pain and problem, because spotting a pain is just the start. So let's take a look at how to turn those signals into strategic content direction. Okay, so now that you've spotted the pain, what do you do with it? Here's the first mindset shift. Pain is just the symptom. The problem is the root cause. Your job is to dig beneath what they say hurts and uncover why it's hurting them. That's where the real persuasion starts. Not just talking about what they're feeling, but helping them to see what's causing it and what to do about it. Let's use an analogy. If someone walks into a doctor's office and says, "My head hurts," that's the pain. But the doctor doesn't just hand them an aspirin and send them home. They start asking questions. They do a diagnosis. Why is their head hurting? Is it dehydration? Is it eye strain? Is it high blood pressure? Those are the problems. And when you identify them clearly, you're no longer just treating symptoms. You're solving something real. In marketing, this matters a lot. Most surface level content just pokes at their pain. Are you tired of X, Y, and Z? And that's fine, but you can go deeper. When you name their actual problem, the real reason that's annoying them and keeping them up at night, your content becomes magnetic. People think, "Whoa, that's exactly what I've been dealing with," and they understand it better than I do. So here's an example in the context of DMs. Here's an example of pain. No one is replying to my DMs. A surface assumption would be, I must have bad luck, or my audience hates me. But the real problem might be, well, maybe it's a bad opener. that doesn't create curiosity or that it feels too salesy. Now, now that we're working with something real, we can teach, we can offer frameworks, we can build content around solving the problem. And here's the magic. Once you name their problem, you become the authority. You're not just another voice talking about their struggles, talking about their pain. You're the one that's actually trying to help them. And you can see what's really going on behind their pain. And once someone believes that you understand their problem better than they do, they trust you to guide them to the solution. So next, we're going to break down exactly how to think about the types of problems that you're going to encounter, because not all problems are created equal. There's a hierarchy. And when you understand it, you'll know which kind of problem to solve with your content and how to meet your audience where they actually are. So let's take our understanding of problems one layer deeper, because not all, as I said before, not all problems are created equal. Some problems are obvious, some are invisible, and some are silently sabotaging your audience, even though they're not saying it out loud. You'll often hear marketers say, talk about their pain. And that's great advice, but it's not enough. You need to understand the type of pain that you're dealing with. Why? Because different types of problems require different kinds of messaging and content. And when you know what level you're speaking to, your copy just hits harder because it's much more precise. So let's start with level 1 problems, surface problems. These are the easy ones, the complaints that you hear all the time, like, I'm not getting enough clients, or nobody is opening my emails, or I don't know what to post about. These are great starting points because they're loud. But remember, they're symptoms. If you only ever create content around surface problems, you're going to sound just like everyone else. So let's move on to level 2, process problems. These are how problems. I need to get clients, but I don't know how to reach out without sounding desperate. I know I should write better emails, but I don't have a strategy. These problems are deeper, and they're way more valuable when you solve them because they reveal what's missing. When you create content around this level of problems, you become a trusted guide, not just a motivational speaker. And finally, let's go to level 3, psychological problems. And this is where the gold is. These are the invisible roadblocks that stop your audience even when they know what to do. Things like fear of rejection, or imposter syndrome, or overthinking, or perfectionism, or doubt, or embarrassment. These are the type of problems that don't show up in data. They show up on hesitation, on procrastination, and when people make excuses for themselves. And when you name these problems out loud, when you create content that says, hey, this might be what's really stopping you, people feel seen. That's real authority. So here's a move. Don't just guess which level your audience is at. Look at your own inbox. Look at your past DMs with them. Listen to where people get stuck. Then craft your content around the right layer. You can even stack them. Start with the surface level complaint, reveal the process that's broken, and then name the belief that's holding them back. So next, we're going to take one of these problems, whatever level it's at, and break it down into milestones. Because our goal here is not just to be able to name the problem, but to create a path through them. So here's one of the biggest mistakes I see content creators and copywriters make, especially those who care deeply about helping their audience. They try to solve the entire problem in one go. Let me be clear. Your job is not to save the day for them. Your job is to create movement. The best content, the kind of content that leads to conversations, doesn't dump the whole toolbox on someone's head. It gives them one useful tool that they can use right now. It gets them from stuck to slightly unstuck, from foggy to clear, from point A to point A1. That's how you build trust, through micro wins. So instead of asking, how do I solve this problem for them? You need to be asking yourself, what's the next step someone in this pain needs to take? That next step, that's your milestone. That's the goal of this one piece of content that we're going to be creating. You don't want to give away the whole solution, but to deliver a win that they can feel, a small win, a shift that they can recognize. I call this micro wins. Think of it like this. Nobody hikes the whole mountain in one breath. They look for the next flat patch, the next visible marker. Your content is that marker. It says, here's the next 10 feet. Let me show you how to make it through this part. And then once you get there, once that they get there with you, guess what? They're going to trust you to guide them to the next one, and then to the next one, and then to the next one. And that's how you build momentum and how you become their go-to person, their authority. This also makes your content way easier to create. When you know that you don't have to fix everything for them in one go, you can go deeper into one specific issue. And that gives you clarity, that gives you authority, and that gives you direction. And your audience can actually absorb what you're sharing instead of feeling overwhelmed with the content that you're giving them. And that's why next, we're going to take this strategy even further and show you exactly how to map out those little next steps into milestones. Because once you know the path, you can create the content that delivers real, tangible progress for them. And that's what separates great creators from forgettable ones. So now that we understand the power of solving one piece of the problem, let's break it down further with what I call the milestone mapping strategy. Every big transformation is made up of smaller, measurable wins. These milestones are like little checkpoints on a journey, places that your audience can stop and say, I'm making progress. And your job as a value-driven marketer or creator is to guide them from one checkpoint to the next. So here's how you map out those little micro wins using 3 simple but powerful questions. Question number 1, what does a clear win look like here? Start by identifying the end goal that you want to help them reach, but zoomed in. You're not aiming to solve the entire problem. You don't want the whole transformation, just a noticeable result that they can feel proud of, that makes them feel, hey, I'm making a small progress here. For example, if the problem is nobody's replying to my DMs, a clear win for them might be, hey, I sent 3 messages today and got 2 replies. Boom. Tangible, specific, trackable. That's what you're aiming for. Question number 2 is, what has to happen right before that? Now, reverse engineer it. What would someone need to do, know, or believe in order to get that little win that you identified with the first question? In our DM example, maybe they need to first learn how to write curiosity driving openers, or maybe they need to pick the right people to message. That's your setup milestone. That's where you start. And question number 3 is, what's the first small breakthrough that they need? This is the most overlooked piece, the true starting point. What gets them out of being stuck? It might be something simple, like realizing that their current message is too long or too vague or too self-focused. That tiny insight, that aha moment is your golden hook. That's where your value bomb can begin. Once you've answered these three questions, you've mapped out a mini map that you can use to walk them through the problem, or at least through the very first steps of the problem from point A to point A1. And each point along the path becomes more content. One video for the first shift, one post for the setup step, one email or DM for the final nudge. That's how you build trust over time. That's three high value pieces of content with just one problem that you're helping them through. And here's the beauty of this. The better you get at mapping milestones, the more precise and irresistible your messaging becomes. Because you're no longer guessing, you're guiding. And the more you guide, the more authority you build and the more conversions you create. Next, we're going to use this milestone to build what I call a value bomb. This is a compact, high impact piece of content that delivers one of those mini breakthroughs fast. Let's talk a little bit about what makes content stick. You've probably heard the term value bomb thrown around on social media or by marketers, but let's define it properly. Because when you get this right, your audience will not only remember you, they'll talk about you, they'll share your stuff, and they'll buy from you. A value bomb is a bite-sized breakthrough. That's it. It's a small but meaningful transformation that you can deliver fast. It takes someone from the pain point or feeling stuck moment to a specific, clear result. Think from point A to point A1 or from point A to point B if you must. No fluff, no theory, just pure usable clarity. This is what separates a value bomb from a tips and tricks kind of lead magnet. It's impact. That's the difference. Tips are everywhere. Advice is free, but a true breakthrough, that's rare. And that's when your content makes someone feel different. Oh, that's why it wasn't working. Or, holy crap, I never thought about this like that. That's the shift you want to create. That's the power of a value bomb. And here's the key. A value bomb is low time commitment. This is not a 20-minute YouTube tutorial or a 3,000 word blog post that you're creating. A value bomb can be a short 5-minute video, a PDF, even an email. And the format doesn't matter. But what matters is that you're delivering something that's immediately useful for them. My favorite type of value bomb is delivered through a simple Google Doc, for example. Why? Because there's a psychology behind Google Docs. Google Docs are perfect because they show structure, like a PDF, but somehow they feel more intimate, like you're in my Google account reading one of my documents, like I'm letting you in on something valuable. Let me give you an example. Let's say that your audience is struggling with people ignoring their emails. You could create a value bomb called 30 surefire subject line templates that guarantees your emails will get opened. Boom. That's the language you want to use. That's the format. A win that they can apply right now. That's memorable. That builds trust. That's what separates you from every other voice in their feed. In fact, let me show you one that I did recently. It's called The Simple Headline That Doubled My Sales and 9 Others Just Like It. This is what it looks like. It's a simple Google document, and you're going to have time to read this, but it's just a mini swipe file, something that gives them real valuable stuff, something that gives them a clear win that gets them unstuck if they're having trouble writing a headline that works for their product. And at the very end, there's a link to one of my products. So here's your job going forward. Stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be useful for them. Give people tiny breakthroughs. Build a reputation as the person who delivers results in 60 seconds or less. And you'll never struggle to get attention or sales again. Got it? Okay. There are 5 proven types of value bombs that you can use. So you're never starting from scratch when it's time to create them. Let's take a look at them right now. Okay, so now that you know what a value bomb is, let's break down the 5 go-to formats that you can use to create them. These are tried and true, high leverage structures that consistently deliver those bite-sized breakthroughs that your audience is craving right now. Type 1 is the quick win guide. This is the classic do this, get a result kind of format. It walks your audience through one specific action that leads to a visible win. It's not about explaining, it's about execution. Here's an example. Here's the exact 3-step email that I used to book my client, book a client last week. And here's why it works. It's fast, it's tangible, and it creates momentum. It's great for people who are stuck in indecision, who are paralyzed with too much information. The second type of value bomb is a mini framework. This one gives structure to a fuzzy problem. You're not giving them 27 steps. You're giving them clarity. Think acronyms. Think 3-part models or bite-sized mental models. Like, want more email replies? Use my Simple Hearts email marketing framework. That's it. Here's why it works. People love frameworks because they reduce complexity. And you become the person who makes things make sense to them. The third type of value bomb that you can create is the before and after demo. This one shows a transformation in action, and it's really valuable for them. You reveal what something looked like before your tweak and then what happened after it. So let me give you an example. Here's the email subject line that I used that got ignored. And here's the version that got 20 replies and 4 sales in 24 hours. This works because demonstration beats explanation. You're showing proof. You're not just telling them stuff. Valuable bomb type number 4 is a reframe or a myth buster. This type of value bomb interrupts assumptions and flips beliefs. You challenge what they think they know and offer a more useful perspective. So, for example, adding more value isn't why people ignore your content. It's because they don't feel seen. That's a breakthrough. That's something that some people need to hear. And it works because it reframes by creating pattern interrupts. It stops the scroll and invites people through curiosity to your content. This is great for emotional resonance and engagement. And value bomb type number 5 is a checklist or swipe. Sometimes people don't need a story, they just need a shortcut. Give it to them. Give them a simple list that they can follow or that they can copy and paste. For example, 5 conversion killing words to avoid in your emails and what to say instead. That's practical. That's instantly actionable, and that's shareable. These formats go viral when you do them well. And here's the cool part. Once you map your milestone, you can plug it into any of these formats. In fact, you can do multiple value bombs for a single mini breakthrough that you want to give your audience. Same transformation, different angles. One milestone could become a checklist one day, a mini framework the next, and a reframe in a video reel that you upload to Instagram, for example. That's how you scale your ideas without burning out. Now, here's a critical piece of information. Having a value bomb is not enough. That's just the start. The second piece of the puzzle is how you distribute your value bomb. Giving it away willy-nilly just doesn't work. You have to tease people into it. And how exactly do you do that? Well, you do it with more content, in particular, something that I call power content. It's a special kind of content that makes people lean in, click play, and say, wait, I need to hear this. Let's have a look. Now that you've got your value bomb ready, it's time to promote it in a way that actually grabs attention. And that's where power content comes in. So what exactly is power content? It's a short form type of content, usually video, that doesn't try to teach everything. It teases the breakthrough. It creates intrigue, emotional resonance, and urgency. It's not the full meal. It's the smell from the kitchen that makes people hungry for what you're cooking. Here's the key mindset shift. The job of power content is not to educate. It's to open the loop. You're not trying to explain the whole solution. You're trying to create desire for it. That's why power content works best when it builds curiosity. Wait, that's the fix? Or urgency. Wow, I need to know this. Or empathy. Hey, this person gets me. Power content is also about format. It's optimized for the attention economy. So it's in the form of an easy-to-consume short-form video. It's raw, honest, and human. It engages people enough to tease them. Usually, it takes 3 to 5 minutes to do this, but I've seen shorter ones that work great too. Think about how your audience is scrolling through social media. They're in a line at the bank, they're between meetings, they're half distracted. So you've maybe got 2 or 3 seconds to make them pause, and that's why your opening line better hit it. That's what power content is designed to do. It's designed to interrupt the scroll, create emotional friction, and pull them closer. And here's the most important part. You can use power content to reframe the problem or to frame it. You can use it to highlight the stakes and to hint at a solution. The value bomb delivers the actual win, but only once they've leaned in and raised their hand. And how do they raise their hand? Well, in this particular case, the call to action in your power content is to send you a DM. And boom, now you've got them. Remember that tease and deliver strategy, the DM framework that we went over our previous call? Well, this works just like that. But instead of reaching out to them to offer them something via DM, you move the strategy to the front of the funnel. You tease them with a video and then reach out to them via DMs. Can you see how powerful that is? Your power content videos don't actually sell anything. They're pure value. But they do accomplish something really powerful. They make people comment. They make people DM you. And they make people save the video for later. That's how you start the momentum that leads to trust and eventually to a sale. Remember the value bomb that I showed you a few minutes ago? Well, now let me show you the power content that goes along with it. In this short video, I'm going to show you why the best performing websites don't just have one headline, they have 3, and how each one plays a different role in pulling the reader into your copy. And if you want to shortcut the process, I have a headline swipe file that I'm going to give you absolutely free. I'll tell you how to get it at the end of the video. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Miguel Alvarez. I run copywriting.com, where I show entrepreneurs, business owners, and marketers just like yourself how to write conversion-focused copy that turns clicks into customers. There's a reason why most websites flop in the first 5 seconds. It's not the offer, it's not the price, it's not the funnel. In most cases, it's the first impression. And here's something that pro copywriters know that most people don't. Every high-converting sales letter starts with 3 headlines, not one. The pre-headline, the main headline, and the post-headline. And each one taps into a different part of your reader's brain. Here's what I mean. The pre-headline works like a whisper. It bypasses the rational brain and goes straight to the subconscious. It frames the message. It provides context. It's not there to sell. It's there to prime the reader. Think of it as a setup line before the punchline lands. Then comes the main headline, your primary hook. This triggers the reticular activating system. It's that part of the brain that says, wait, this is relevant to me. If the pre-headline opens the door, the main headline pulls them into the room. And finally, there's the post-headline. This is where you're gonna cinch their attention, reduce resistance, and clarify the promise. Here's the truth. Your website visitors are not reading. They're scanning, they're skimming, they're filtering like crazy. And if your headline stack doesn't guide their attention, you lose them. Not because your website sucks, not because your offer is bad, but because your visitors never got past the gate. So here's the move. You need to write 3 headlines every time. A pre-headline to control the frame, a main headline to control the focus, and a post-headline to control momentum. Do this right, and your readers won't even realize they're being pulled into your website. By the way, I just published a Google Doc titled The Simple Headline That Doubled My Sales and 9 others just like it. It's a mini swipe file of hard-hitting headlines that I use all the time. Drop the word headlines in the comments and I'll send it to you absolutely free. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. The video sits in my Facebook business page teasing people about the value bomb. And when people comment on it or DM me about it, I share the link of the value bomb with them. The value bomb then gives them that quick win that they're looking for. It builds trust and authority for me and sends them over to a low-ticket offer that I have. This is not rocket science, but it works. It works incredibly well. So next, I'm going to give you 3 proven formats for power content that teases your value bomb without giving the whole thing away. So let's dive into the 3 power content styles that you can use to tease your value bomb, each with its own psychological superpower. Style number 1 is the POV pattern interrupt. This one stops the scroll cold. You're going to lead with a bold opinion, a strong belief, or an unexpected take. It's going to make people go, wait, what did he just say? Start with something like hot take, or if you're quote unquote problem, then this is why. Or nobody talks about this, but blank. It works because you're challenging assumptions. People instinctively want to defend or explore a bold claim that you're making. That drives engagement and that drives intrigue. This style of power content positions you as someone with conviction, someone who knows something that other people don't, and that's instant authority for you. The second type is a story hook. This one taps on emotion and relatability. You quickly describe a real or relatable scenario that your audience has already experienced, or it's something that they're experiencing right now, and then shift into the value bomb. Start with words like 3 months ago, or here's what happened, or I used to think. It works because people connect with stories, especially stories that mirror their own struggles. It builds trust and it earns attention fast. This works especially well if the story ends with a cliffhanger or a transformation that naturally leads the viewer into your value bomb. For example, when you say, I'm gonna give you something that That worked for me. And style number 3 is a curiosity gap setup. This one opens an information gap. You give them the result, but not how you achieved it. It builds irresistible curiosity. Start with one tweak that boosted my blank result by 90%. Or when I stopped doing this, everything changed. It works because it creates tension in the viewer's mind. The brain wants to close the loop. And the only way to do that is to click, watch, or comment. And the best bet for this is the best bet for short reels and TikToks, especially when paired with text on screen and fast-paced delivery, if that's more your style. You don't need to pick one format and stick to it. In fact, a healthy mix of all three formats will keep your content feeling fresh, human, and scroll-worthy. The key is this. Each one builds desire for the next step. The next step is obviously your value bomb. And speaking of next step, let's move into the final piece of this training. How to pull everything together into a full flow that starts with pain and ends with power content that gets you results. Here's the final piece that ties everything together. And most people are completely blind to this. They think that advertising is only for selling, for pitching, for making noise and pushing products. But what if I told you that advertising could also be a channel to distribute your highly engaging and most valuable content? That's the way that pros do it, and that's how they win. Most marketers run ads with one objective: to get a sale. And sure, that can work, but it's really expensive. It's noisy, and frankly, it's a turnoff when the ad is just a pitch. But there's a smarter move, a smarter way to do things. Use your best content as your ad. And I'm talking about the power content videos, like the one I'm using right now, the one I just showed you. You can use curiosity, you can use a story, or you can use a pattern interrupt, and that video becomes your ad. And instead of trying to sell, you're starting conversations. There's no pressure, no links, no sales, just pure engagement. And that flips the entire game for you. Because now you're not paying to push people into a funnel that they don't want to be in. You're paying to show that you genuinely care and and you're giving them something useful. You're giving them curiosity-driven content to people that are already interested in your stuff. And when that content delivers value, people naturally lean in. They comment, they send you a DM, and they remember you. And here's where it gets really fun. This works everywhere. It works on Facebook, it works on LinkedIn, it works on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All of them, all the platforms reward engagement, not just clicks. So instead of trying to beat the algorithm with your ads, you simply fuel your best content with a little money and watch it fly. So don't think of this as running ads. Think of it as amplifying the right message to the right crowd. You're not selling, you're broadcasting value with a little money behind it. And that shift, it's a game changer for you. Let me break down this strategy and tell you not only why it's effective, but also why it's ridiculously cheap and cost efficient. First, the biggest expense in traditional digital ads comes from the clicks that lead people off the platform. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, they all want one thing. They want people staying on their websites, on their platforms. So when you run ads that include links that take people elsewhere, you're working against the platform. That's why clicks that lead to your landing page or to your opt-in page normally cost $5, $10, sometimes even $30 for a single click. But when you run ads that keep people engaged inside their platform through likes, comments, or DM triggers, the costs drop dramatically. Second, this strategy works because you don't need to scale. You're not trying to hit thousands of people's and hope that a few of them convert. You're aiming for conversations, and it only takes a handful of good ones to generate consistent revenue for your business, especially if you're selling a mid-ticket or a high-ticket product or service. And with just $2 to $5 a day per video, you can keep your inbox full of potential leads, clients, or customers. And if you want more, just add a few dollars. And if you're too busy, just pause the ad. It's all in your control. There's no complex funnel here, no landing pages, no email sequences, just helpful content that lead to strategic DMs, that leads to sales conversations. And this simplicity is why it works so well and why your cost per engagement is so much lower than a traditional advertising campaign. And here's the best part. The perceived value of this strategy is high for the viewer because the actual spend is minimal for you, but you're giving them a lot of value. You look like a pro, you're showing up consistently, and you're doing it without burning through cash. And this makes the system scalable and sustainable for you. And it allows even wet behind the ear newbies to get traction fast without needing a giant budget or a complicated technological stack. Now, as I said before, this strategy works in almost every social media platform. But for people who are not very experienced with ads, Facebook is probably the easiest and most straightforward way to start. When setting up a campaign to promote your power content video, there are two ways that I recommend that you try. The first one is setting up an awareness campaign. Yes, I know that sounds weird, but awareness campaigns actually work pretty well for this purpose because they're capable of getting you the largest number of video views per dollar. In the example I showed you earlier with my headlines value bomb and my power content video, this is the one I'm using. And maybe you noticed that my call to action was to drop a specific keyword in the comments. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm running it as an awareness campaign, and I'm gonna tie it to ManyChat, to the ManyChat bot for that initial reply that sends them the value bomb, and so that I can follow up with all those leads at a later time in a much easier way. Anyway, the second type of campaign that you can try is an engagement campaign. This one is also great for generating DM conversations, and you can use the call to action to start the DM conversation with you. I've noticed that the leads for engagement campaigns are slightly more expensive, but they're also a bit more targeted. Your niche or industry might also be a factor. So if you're serious about using this strategy, I suggest that you try both campaign types for a few days and see which one works best for you. And please do not get close to the leads objective in those campaigns. It's gonna tempt you, but don't do it. Those are the most expensive clicks that you'll ever get. Now, let's talk a little bit about how to optimize this strategy so you're not only consistent, you're strategic with it. First of all, you can create as many value bombs as you want. In fact, you don't even need to create them until you know that your power content videos are actually working, because you can build a value bomb in 15-20 minutes using ChatGPT. Just come up with a concept or idea and give it a good title. Start with one and create a few power content videos for it. Once you've created 5 or 6 power content videos, don't just pick one and hope that it works. You have to test them all. Run one campaign for each video with a very low budget. Start with $2 a day or $5 a day per video and watch how people engage with it. The key metric here is not just views. You're looking for signals of emotional engagement. Which video is getting the most comments, the most shares, the longest watch time? The DMs that say, hey, this really hit home. Those are your front runners. And once you identify the top 1 or 2 videos, keep those campaigns active. These are your front-facing magnets, the content that stops strangers and starts conversations. And what about the other videos? They're not going to waste. They're not going to go to waste. Instead, you're going to start retargeting campaigns with those videos to the people who have already interacted with your winners. This does 2 things. First, it warms up your audience even more because they're seeing new angles, new insights, new depth from you. And second, it's ultra cheap because you're only paying to show content to people who have already raised their hand. So you're going to be paying cents. And that's how you build a simple but scalable flywheel with this strategy. You're going to use power content to hook their attention. You're going to use a value bomb to earn their trust. You're going to use retargeting to build the relationship and the trust faster and further. And you're going to use their DMs to close the sale. This is modern, ethical, low-cost marketing that feels good because it actually delivers real value to the people that you're targeting. You're going to start real conversations, and you can scale it with confidence and capacity. And the best part, it's something that you can start implementing today, right now, without needing a massive team, without needing a complicated funnel, and without needing a massive advertising budget. As I told you before, you can start with $2 and a video, and that's it. So there you go. That's the end of the DM copy system. But really, that's just the beginning. You've now got everything you need: the frameworks, the formulas, the psychology, and the clarity. You know how to hook attention in 3 seconds. You know how to build trust through empathy and conversation. You know how to guide people step by step towards a buying decision without ever sounding pushy or desperate. You've learned how to identify real pain, how to trace it to real problems, how to create buy-side breakthroughs that actually help people move forward. And most importantly, you've learned how to turn all of that into microcopy value bombs and DM conversations that convert people into sales. You're not the same as when you started this program. You're well ahead of 99% of all marketers out there who are just scrambling, making stuff up as they go along and hoping that they don't sound desperate. You know better. However, none of this is going to work unless you use it. So don't wait until your videos are perfect. They don't need to be perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. You're not going to feel that way until you start. So just start. Use your notes. Write that DM, record that power content video, drop your first $3 ad, and watch what happens. You're going to learn more from doing this 2 weeks than from thinking about it for 2 or 3 months. You don't need permission. You don't need to master anything else. You're ready. You've earned the right to go out there and sell your offers, serve the people that are in your audience, and create real momentum for your business, one honest conversation at a time. So go ahead, launch that content, start the chat, make the sale. And when it works, come back to the group and tell me. I'm going to be cheering you on every step of the way. Thank you for joining me in this training. Tata for now, and I'll see you in the next one.